Good afternoon, traders. It's Bill Baruch with Blue Line Futures, and this is the FX Rundown. Bad data has continued to pressure the dollar as well as Brexit optimism. We're seeing the bad retail sales yesterday, contractions, and then you got bad Philly Fed today, below expectations, higher than expected jobless claims, poor industrial production. It's all weighing on the dollar as Brexit is seeing more and more optimism mount as we look to House of Commons votes. It's lifted the euro. It's also lifted the British pound. This has pressured the dollar index below the mid-September lows, and we do see some support about 97.10. However, below 97.5, that was our level. So we're below the shelf of 97.5, which keeps a path of least resistance slightly lower. But on the other side of the coin, you have the euro. And the euro is moving into our sell zone. The euro has not moved out above that mid-September high yet. We have major three-star resistance in the euro, about 111.75. That's where we want to be short. So keep an eye on it there. There's a number of ways to play it. Give us a call. We're here to help. Now, for the data, tonight there's a slew of Chinese data. It's our favorite trio: fixed asset investment, industrial production, retail sales. You have unemployment data, you have GDP data also. So a lot of data for the global economy tonight to keep an eye on. Tomorrow is much more quiet, though, but you do on the data side, but you do have a slew of Fed speak, Esther George, Clarida, a number of speakers tomorrow to keep a close eye on to finish out the week. But ultimately, you're seeing the probability after this bad data, the probability of a cut later this month mounts to about 85%. What are they going to say about that? Ironically, though, you're seeing the odds of a second 25 basis point cut in December dissipate, but hanging right around 25%. So it's all going to matter. What do they say? What does the data do? China data tends to be crucial, though, for the global economy. It's going to move the euro. It's also going to move some of those commodity currencies. But first, it's going to move the safe havens. The safe havens have not had a great week overall, but they're not having a bad week. And you're seeing gold hold ground. You're seeing the treasuries, the 30-year bond kind of waffle around that 160 area. And in the yen, it's below support. Now, you've heard us before. We're not enthusiastic about the yen. If we're going to be buying safe havens, there's other asset classes of gold and treasuries we'd rather be in. But the yen, it's trading below what was major three-star support coming into the week. This leaves a path of least resistance lower, similar to the way we're seeing the dollar below 97.5. The Chinese data tonight is going to be crucial on what it does to the equity market, what it does to overall risk sentiment. And then remember, there is that House bill that was passed on looking to protect Hong Kong protesters. So if that doesn't resolve itself, you could see some backlash coming out of China on trade. That's something also to keep a close eye on. The S&P near 3,000. But listen, we're not bearish equity market. This thing, it looks like it wants to power higher at more of a seasonally bullish time of year. That could weigh on the yen. Don't forget that. But again, the yen is below what was major three-star support. It leaves the path of least resistance a bit lower. And then lastly, the commodity currencies. The Aussie dollar is ripping higher here today. You had employment data that really wasn't amazing last night. It was in line with expectations, but lower unemployment rate. It started cutting the odds of another rate cut out of the RBA, and this lifted the Aussie dollar. It's out above major three-star resistance now. Path of least resistance is actually higher, a nice little bit of a bottom, not a bull flag, but the same sort of momentum that a bull flag sees is what's powering the Aussie, and a little bit of a technical pattern too. So keep an eye on that. There is higher to go, but this Chinese data tonight is really what matters. And then for the Canadian dollar, yes, this Chinese data matters. Canadian dollar doing some really nice things here this week. Another floor at 75, holding very well, powering out above major three-star resistance, out above a trend line. There is a path of least resistance higher in the Canadian. There's some resistance at 76 and a quarter. Keep an eye on it. But really, this is a type of technical move. It should help move to 77. The fundamentals matter. Crude oil is moving above 54 here to the close. And then ultimately, too, again, that Chinese data, it's going to matter hugely for the Aussie, for the Canadian, for the euro. The yen, everything tonight is going to really rely on that. It's going to set a tone into the weekend, into the last day of the session. Give us a call. We're here to help with anything on the board. 312-278-0500. And remember, you can check our website for updates. You can email us, info@bluelinefutures.com. But remember, futures trading involves substantial risk of loss. It's not suitable for all investors.